first and foremost, it just revealed the kind of character that we have. You know, the toughness, the relentless spirit, the flexibility.
Something just broke, and it broke in front of millions of people watching live. What you're about to hear isn't a story about basketball anymore. It's a story about a league eating itself alive in real time on camera with no way to hide it. The people running this operation aren't putting out the fire. They're pouring fuel on it and handing out lighters. This is no longer a disagreement about playing style. This is an open rebellion. A civil war has erupted inside the WNBA, and it's tearing apart the one thing that was supposed to save it. And now there's a body count. Not literal, but professional, real, public. A respected veteran head coach didn't just have a bad week. She was pushed out of the public conversation entirely. Not fired, not suspended. Something almost worse. She deleted herself. She walked away from her own voice because the truth screaming at her from hundreds of thousands of furious fans became impossible to survive. This is a 5-alarm fire. This is a league falling apart while cameras roll. And what we're witnessing is common sense finally winning loudly, publicly, and undeniably. Meanwhile, the so-called experts on the major sports networks, the ones whose paychecks depend on defending this league, are lying straight to your face. They call it welcome to the league. They call it rookie treatment. They smile and shrug and act like nothing strange is happening. But the fans know better. The fans who are actually keeping this league alive right now are done accepting insulting excuses. And their outrage finally broke through the wall of silence. Here's what happened. The head coach of the league's best, still undefeated team just found out what happens when the entire internet catches you red-handed. Her team faced off against Caitlin Clark in the Indiana Fever. And once again, the strategy on display had nothing to do with basketball IQ. It was the same tired playbook every opposing team seems to be running. If you can't outplay her, rough her up. If you can't guard her, shove her. It's brutality disguised as defense. And everyone's seen it by now. But this time was different. This time the backlash wasn't a few angry comments. It was a tidal wave. Caitlin Clark's fanbase, which, let's be honest, is now the primary fanbase keeping this league financially alive, unloaded. They are exhausted from watching the best player in the league get treated like a target. Night after night after night, social media exploded. Comment sections turned into war zones. Post after post aimed directly at the coach and her team's official accounts. And these weren't gentle disagreements. These were direct hits. This isn't basketball. It's an assault. Protect your stars or lose your league. The league needs to investigate this immediately. You're not coaching. You're jealous of a 22-year-old who's better than your whole roster combined. For hours, this continued. Thousands of fans, a digital army, pointing out something the league office, the media, and apparently half the coaching staff around the league refused to admit. There's a coordinated effort happening to physically and mentally break down the one player who could take this entire league to a global stage. So, how did the coach respond to all of it? She couldn't. She caved. The pressure was too intense, the truth too exposed. Her personal account was wiped clean, gone. No statement, no defense, just silence and retreat. And let's be clear, there's no version of this that makes her look justified. This wasn't a coach quietly logging off after a rough night online. This is a symptom of something much bigger. A fracture running straight through the foundation of the entire league. The very fans this league desperately needs for survival just publicly shamed the coach of an unbeaten team into digital hiding. That's not a small moment. That's a verdict. The audience just delivered a vote of no confidence, loud and clear. They see exactly what's going on. They see the jealousy. They see the coordinated hostility. And they're sending one simple message. Sabotage your own product, and we stop showing up. The coaches, the front offices, the veteran players, together they've built a hostile, toxic environment. Not just for Clark on the court, but for anyone who's seen as being on her side. An us versus her mentality has taken root, and it is now blowing up publicly spectacularly in the worst possible way. They actually thought they could control this narrative. They thought they could lean on friendly media outlets to spin the story to convince new fans that this is all normal, all part of the game. But they miscalculated badly. They underestimated just how emotionally and financially invested millions of new fans have become in this one player. This stopped being a sports story a long time ago. This is now a full-blown cultural clash, a revolt against a fragile, insecure system that would rather burn the whole house down than admit one rookie has become bigger than the entire organization combined. And the video evidence backs it up. Slow-motion replays of dangerous, unnecessary contact, elbow SH, reckless hip checks circulating everywhere stamped with one simple label. This isn't basketball. This is a targeted attack. Let's not soften this. What's happening on the court isn't tough physical defense. It's a coordinated pattern of intimidation, quietly backed by jealous veterans who can't stand watching a rookie get attention they never received, and silently approved by league officials who refuse to say a single word about it. They're not guarding her. They're going after her. When referees look away, she's getting shoved to the floor. And where are the referees in all this? Either they've been told to look the other way, or they're simply not doing their jobs. There's no third explanation. Fans have watched it happen game after game. The extra schvees, the cheap shots, the constant grabbing that never gets called. It's obvious. And coaches who allow it, encourage it, or build a whole strategy around it are the ones dragging the sport through the mud. This coach, like so many others this season, seemed to operate on one basic idea. We're Clark down physically until something breaks. But when fans confronted her directly with that reality, she had no answer.
She didn't fight back.
She didn't explain herself. She simply disappeared from the conversation. That silence says everything. That retreat is basically a confession. It shows they know exactly how ugly and indefensible their approach has become. What they never expected was a fan base this large, this loyal, and this loud holding them accountable. They assumed public opinion couldn't touch their little closed-off world. That world just got cracked wide open. And the financial fallout from this self-inflicted mess is about to get very real for everyone involved. Look at the difference just a few months have made. Right now, thousands of fans in Clark jerseys are packing arenas to capacity for Fever games. Rewind the footage back one season, and you'll find half-empty arenas, quiet crowds, minimal buzz. It's worth remembering where this league stood not long ago. The WNBA was frankly propped up. Small crowds, mostly friends and diehards, financially dependent on NBA support for years, consistently losing money, a niche product without mainstream pull. Then one player changed everything. Caitlin Clark walked in and single-handedly became an economic engine for a struggling league. Ticket prices have jumped over 200%. Viewership numbers are on certain nights beating the NBA and NHL. Numbers nobody thought were possible. Her rookie jersey became the best-selling draft jersey in the history of licensed sports merchandise, men's or women's, any sport. After years of players asking for basic travel upgrades, the league finally approved charter flights, largely because one rookie was generating enough revenue and attention to justify it. She is, by every measure, a financial miracle for this league. Any organization with basic business sense would protect an asset like that at all costs. They'd want referees treating her like a priceless resource. They'd build every ad campaign, every commercial, every promotional push around her. They'd make her the unquestioned face of the league and defend that decision without hesitation. Instead, the opposite has happened. They've allowed jealous players to treat her like a punching bag on a nightly basis. Veteran stars have gone on podcasts and in interviews not to celebrate the attention and money she's brought to their league, but to criticize her, complain about her, and stir resentment. Out of pure jealousy, they are poisoning the very thing keeping their paychecks growing. Historically speaking, this might be one of the most baffling acts of self-destruction in modern sports. They were handed a golden ticket worth billions and collectively decided to set it on fire.
Picture this.
The NBA in the 1980s deciding a young Michael Jordan was getting too popular. Imagine officials letting brutal, dangerous defensive tactics slide unpunished until he was pushed out of the league entirely. The NBA, as we know it, simply wouldn't exist. It would be a forgotten chapter in sports history. The WNBA is standing on that exact same cliff right now, and somehow choosing to jump. They're choosing chaos over opportunity, bitterness over growth, self-sabotage over a golden era. And executives, coaches, and players across the league seem willing to rule over the ashes rather than accept that a new superstar has arrived to lead them somewhere better. And through it all, the fans are watching. Since the major networks won't say it plainly, let their own words speak for them. One fan wrote that the coach deleting her account speaks louder than any denial ever could. She coached Clark before. She knows exactly what a generational talent looks like. And now leading an unbeaten team, her game plan is apparently to attack her instead of compete with her. Called out and gone within hours. Another fan pointed out that this isn't even hidden anymore. It's a league-wide pattern. Veteran players fear being replaced, front offices are too weak to control their own locker rooms, and the abuse keeps happening because nobody with authority is willing to stop it. And one comment summed up the stakes better than anything else. If league leadership doesn't step in and clean this up, the WNBA risks collapsing within a few short years. You cannot build your entire marketing strategy around one superstar and then let everyone around her tear her down publicly. That's not just bad basketball. That's a PR disaster, a business disaster, and a long-term survival problem all rolled into one. That's the uncomfortable truth. League leadership keeps trying to look away from it. But a movement this loud, this organized, and this determined cannot be ignored forever. This coach had to learn that the hard way. And her retreat from the public eye is really a symbol for how fragile this entire system has become. They don't have real answers. They don't have a defense. All they have left is a desperate attempt to hold on to control while the ground shifts beneath them. And every single day this is allowed to continue, the damage becomes harder to undo. Every missed call, every jealous comment from a veteran, every coach who builds a game plan around physically wearing her down. It all chips away at the fragile momentum this league worked so hard to build. Sponsors don't want their brand attached to controversy like this. Parents don't want their kids idolizing players who bully instead of compete. And the millions of casual fans who showed up specifically because of Caitlin Clark, they will get tired of it. They will walk away. And once they do, they will not come back. What's left behind will be a league even more irrelevant and financially unstable than before she ever arrived. Undone by the very people who should have been protecting their biggest opportunity in franchise history. Right now, we are watching a slow-motion collapse unfold in public. A completely avoidable disaster. So, what's the alternative? Look at leagues that actually protect their stars. In the NFL, defenders get flagged and fined heavily for even lightly touching a quarterback. The NBA built rules specifically to let elite scorers shine because fans were paying to watch stars like Michael Jordan play, not to watch him get physically dismantled every night. The WNBA has refused that blueprint entirely. They've chosen chaos over structure, resentment over growth, and self-destruction over protecting their own future. This coach's public collapse is the warning sign. It's the clearest proof yet that the system is buckling under the weight of fan anger. They can't hide from this anymore. They can't pretend it's not happening. We're watching. The proof is everywhere. The posts, the video clips, the reactions. None of it can be explained away. If real change doesn't come from the top immediately, this collapse is only going to accelerate. League leadership needs to step in hard. Dangerous plays need real punishment. Fines, suspensions, clear consequences. Every coach and every player needs to hear one unmistakable message. The future of this league belongs to Caitlin Clark. And anyone who tries to physically or professionally derail her will be held accountable. Anything less than that is basically the league declaring war on its own fans, its own growth, and its own survival. So, here's the real question for you. When you watch these games, what do you actually see? Tough physical defense, or a deliberate pattern of intimidation? When a coach deletes her entire online presence overnight, is that really about privacy, or is it a quiet admission of guilt after getting caught? The lines have been drawn. The mainstream media isn't going to tell you the truth. The league office isn't going to admit what's happening. It's up to the people actually watching, actually paying attention to hold this league accountable. So, tell me right now, do you stand with Caitlin Clark in the future of this sport? Or do you stand with a jealous, crumbling system that would rather destroy her than admit she changed the game? Drop your take in the comments below. Like this video if you think the league needs to step in immediately. Share it with someone who needs to see the truth about what's really happening, and subscribe because this story is far from over and you're not going to want to miss what happens next.